Hey everybody, Tom Cassidy and Bryan Sykes here. We're talking reasonable leadership. This is a program that Bryan's put together using the 13 by 4, the idea of focusing on just one thing at a time, but in the domain of leadership, with a particular focus on being reasonable. And he's calling it the art and science of thinking and acting reasonably. Now, this is one of his favorite topics. I know a little bit about this program already, of course, and Bryan could talk for about 6 weeks without breathing on this topic of value, judgment, intelligence, which is what we're doing now. Bryan, what's this all about? It's fascinating. Go on, have a go at this.
Yeah, this is exciting to me because we all understand IQ and even EQ, which is emotional intelligence. I ran across this topic of value science, which the formal name is called axiology, and this is called VQ, so it's value judgment intelligence quotient. And Dr. Hartman, when he actually founded this science, he had a simple question, and the simple question was this: what is good and how is good organized? And what he was reasoning in all of his research was, in fact, he was nominated for a Nobel Prize before he actually passed away back in 1972.
Okay.
Um, but what he found was it isn't a person's values that always drive their decision making. There are other forces that drive decision making. So what value judgment intelligence is about is one's capacity for making good judgment. Now that's thinking and acting reasonably because the root word for reasonable is
Mhm.
judgment. So
Mm.
this whole program is based on this science here. And so he said it's not one's values that always drive one's decision making. However, it is what they value in the moment. So when we
Right.
use value judgment, we create our own meaning in the moment. So what value judgment intelligence is all about is looking at one's values. What is it that they really value in the moment and their capacity for using value judgment? So it's the interconnectedness between all three is something called valuing, and that's the verb, the action of actually doing that. And so that's why I say if you think and act reasonably, can work in any situation, in any
Mm.
capacity of leadership, and at any given time, if you position yourself for creating the greatest net value. And for us, that positioning greatest net value is the greater life for all question.
Hmm. That's fascinating. So you've actually not only come up with a very scientific sort of axiologistic, or whatever the word would be, way of looking at things, but you've got a very practical way to implement this. That's what I love about it. So value judgment intelligence goes from being this esoteric thing to a practical thing, which is, okay, in order to think and act reasonably on a moment to moment basis using this value judgment intelligence, it's really, how is the thinking and acting that I'm doing moment to moment creating the ultimate aim that I do value, which is the greater life for all. That's brilliant. Do you think, in your experience of talking about this to people, do you think they get how simple this can be and how powerful this can be?
They don't actually because we're not used to talking that way. In fact, what Dr. Hartman says is our values in our mind are subjective, which they are. You can give me a list of your values and do so in hierarchical fashion. I'll give you a list of my values, and there may be some similarities there, but by and large, there's going to be differences there.
Mm-hmm.
What his science proves is that there's an objective hierarchy that will create the greatest net value. And here's that hierarchy because it follows the heart, hand, head. It follows metaphorically, the dimensions are people,
Mm-hmm.
the is heart, because we're
Mm-hmm.
talking about human life, we're talking about the dimension of being.
Yep.
Then we're talking about extrinsically the body, so we're talking about what, where, and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the head is systemic. So it's
Yep.
all about organization. It's all about the policies. It's all about the mind. It's all about the construct. So the higher dimensions have the greater properties. And what he said is, what is something good? He said, this is how you can tell something is good. Something is good when it has all of its properties or attributes it needs to fulfill its purpose. If you're going to bake a good cake, you would need good ingredients. If you're going to
Yeah.
be a good leader, you would need good leader ingredients. And this goes back to our sausage machine.
Yeah, it's brilliant. So, and of course, as well as the actual ingredients, you also need the good oven, don't you, for the cake?
Exactly.
And and the timing and the delivery of the electricity to that good oven, and all these systemic things on a much higher level. So that's why I like your approach in general, Brian, as well, because you're coming from a systems view of everything rather than just focusing on an isolated aspect. So that's great. So that's value judgment intelligence. There'll be a lot more on this to come in the full programs, but there'll be also a sample in Brian's done an email course that's available. So if you click on the link that you should find below this video, you'll be able to get a taste of this. And this, if you like the Sykes stuff, if you like Brian's approach, you like where he's going with this, sign up for that sample, see how you get on with that, and then of course you'll be able to check out any of the deeper stuff and bring it into your own organizations if you like where we're going. So Brian, once again, thanks very much for that brilliant blend of the esoteric and the practical, and that's week number 7. It's part of the head domain, and it's value judgment intelligence. So thanks for your time, Brian, much appreciated.
Yeah, thank you.